let's be real. Congressional meetings can be total snooze fests, and it looks like some members of Congress agree.
Multiple lawmakers were caught sleeping on the job this week. One of those lawmakers was Congressman Blake Moore of Utah. There he is. The House Ways and Means Committee, which is writing the tax section of Trump's big, beautiful bill, had been meeting for 14 hours.
Someone had to wake Moore up so he could vote on a Democrat-proposed amendment. The House Energy and Commerce Committee also held a marathon meeting that lasted 26 hours. They were debating Medicaid cuts, another aspect of the big, beautiful bill.
Now, here's Congresswoman Debbie Dingell. Well, we did see her briefly until we returned to my face, but anyway, she's 71 and she fell asleep. But Dingell hit back at her critics on social media, writing, "Been up for 31 hours straight, fighting Republicans trying to gut Medicaid. Closed my eyes to think about an America where everyone has access to quality, affordable health care."
Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, who's 80, she also dozed off at the Energy and Commerce Committee meeting. Many on social media were blasting these sleepy lawmakers and alluding to the need for term limits. Reason reporter Billy Binion, however, responded to a clip of Dingell sleeping, writing, "This viral clip is extremely misleading. They were pulling an all-nighter. Republican Blake Moore, who's all of 44, also fell asleep. I hate our gerontocracy as much as the next person, but let's at least be fair and accurate." Yeah, I'm actually going to give our elected representatives a pass this time because they were up really late.
Yes, all through the night.
They were up. It's okay. And these meetings can be boring. And It's not like there's so many of them. It's not like you're summoned to do everything at every moment of the meeting. A lot of them got to fly all over the place. They're on crazy schedules. This is not an example. And I am not forgiving of age-related infirmities of Congress, cognitive decline, physical impairment, any of that. I'm like, no. But perfectly able-bodied, mentally with it people can be exhausted and fall asleep in special circumstances, as was this committee meeting, right?
Sure, no, absolutely. And let me make a rare moment of praise for your colleagues over at Reason there. Billy Binion making that point, I think, is very valid. The clip of Dingell was kind of passed around with this reference to her age. She's in her early 70s. But the Republican congressman that we saw at the start is in his mid-40s and was obviously quite tired after a long and perhaps not particularly fascinating night of marking up or debating tax policy and the finer points of it. One of the open secrets of Washington reporting is that a lot of what happens in Congress is pretty dull. And if you go there or are sitting in a committee after being up for an all-nighter through all of that, then I think it's pretty understandable that people lapse into having a little bit of a snooze. I liked with the Republican that a colleague of his next to him kind of woke him up, stirred him, and he had a little chuckle about that and voted whatever way she told him to vote, which is how it goes.
I love when you catch a TV personality dozing off. There's a famous clip of Tucker Carlson.
Really?
It's called All Tuckered Out. Back when he was on Fox and Friends, he was at that time he was commuting, I believe, from D.C. to New York to do it. This was when I worked for him at the Daily Caller, where Amber Duke now works, and Tucker, co-founded that website years ago before he moved to Fox full-time. He was the editor-in-chief of it, but he was doing appearances on Fox, morning appearances in New York. So he was doing just ridiculous hours to do this show in New York, commuting from D.C. And he would nap during the commercial breaks. He would get in like a 90-second nap, and they came back live, and they forgot to wake him up, and he was just asleep on camera.
We don't do that, right? We're here sharp and ready to roll.
Well, you know what? We should let our audience know. We'll see about that next week, because the show is actually going to be moving. We're just going to be taping it a little bit earlier. It really won't affect anybody watching, except actually maybe the videos will get up a little bit more earlier. We're also going to be trying out a live thing, which should be exciting. So there'll be none of if we're making mistakes, it's just going to go to print, so to speak.
We never make mistakes.
We never make mistakes.
It's flawless all the time.
But we might be like at our desks.
Particularly since we have to start a little bit earlier in the morning.
We have to start earlier. I don't know when I'm going to fit in my morning trip to the gym, Niall. I don't think I'm going to be able to make it before the show starts anymore.
Afternoon trips to the gym will be less busy.
Yeah, but I got other stuff to do in the afternoon. So I'm going to have to go. I'm going to have to go to the gym and then go to Reason Magazine, and then I can't do it at the end of the day because I skip it. I don't know.
So I don't like working out at the end of the day, because then what is it, the things that make you feel lively after you have exercise?
Alcohol. What?
Not alcohol, Robby. I'm trying to think of the chemicals that are sort of
endorphins.
Endorphins.
Yes.
Thank you. That's the word I was looking for. The endorphins keep me awake if I go for a run late at night. I'm more
interesting.
But if I'm working from home, a run in the afternoon is the optimum time, because then I don't want to nap.
I actually took a nap yesterday for the first time in a while, and it was lovely. I've had trouble sleeping as of late, and I just wake up a lot in the night. And I finally started taking melatonin, which is what people recommend for that. And I always just thought that was some like astrology, woman, yoga type nonsense. Sure. But I'm so dismissive. But it works. I've been getting a much better sleep since I started taking it.
Have you considered running for Congress, perhaps, and you'd be put asleep by all night markups of tax bills and doze off?
Yes, that's why I am forgiving of them, because we all have sleeping problems, and it is difficult in this modern day. I do blame the phones a little bit.
Yeah.
Have you heard the blue light theory?
Yeah.
It's the light behind the text
that makes us all kind of slightly stressed. Yeah.
I try to keep when I've decided I'm going to bed, I will not look at my phone anymore. Mm-hmm. That is like my pledge to myself, because it never stops if you start.
My best, very cheap investment recently was paying about $8 for an old-style alarm clock, and I put my phone in a different room.
Really?
Yes.
I think I'm going to have to do that.
It's the way
I think
forward.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
There we go.
All right. Well, that does it for us today on Rising. Like we said, we'll be back next week at a slightly different taping hour, but it won't affect the content or your way of consuming it. You can also be sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss any of our content. And for those of you who like to listen while on the go, we're now available anywhere that you can find podcasts. We appreciate you watching, commenting, chiming in, telling us how you like the show. And we'll see you back here next week. Of course, there will be a show tomorrow that Niall is not a part of.
It'll be
Amber and a mystery guest. You actually won't want to miss it. See you later.